If you want to know why vegetarians never make that switch to veganism, cheese. Cheese on a baked potato, cheese on a broccoli, cheese on everything in sight. Even lactose intolerant people eat cheese. So, we have all these animal products coming into our diets for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day without exception. Snacks too. Did you ever wonder why nearly every other commercial on TV has something to do with pills and illnesses? And why our parents and grandparents have to take multivitamins daily? And why there's a drug store on every street corner selling vitamins and pharmaceuticals. After all, we do live in a meat, dairy, and egg-eating world. You think maybe people need pills because meat, cheese, milk, and eggs are pure and utter garbage with very little to no nutritional value whatsoever? And let me quickly mention something about the environment and world hunger. Because a lot of people keep telling me that they care more about humans than animals, which is why they can never go vegan. Which is something I'll never understand. I cannot connect those dots at all, especially because meat, dairy, and egg-eating societies are the main cause of world hunger. They continuously feed 50% of the world's crops back to the 60 billion land animals and tens of billions of marine animals that we kill every year, instead of using those crops to feed 7.5 billion people. Every 2 to 3 seconds, some human dies from starvation. But chickens and pigs, they never miss a meal. Meat, dairy, and egg eating is the worst form of human and animal abuse. And when it comes to pure environmental destruction, air pollution, water pollution, deforestation, nothing competes with animal agriculture. There is no such thing as a meat, dairy, or egg-eating environmentalist. Check out the 2 environmental sections on my website for more detailed information about this. Now, I want to condemn the dairy industry a little more today, because when it comes to cruelty, I think there's more cruelty in a glass of milk than a steak. First, most hamburger meat comes from the dairy industry. When cows can't give huge amounts of milk after 3 to 7 years, right to the slaughterhouse. No exceptions. If given a chance, cows can live to be 18 to 25. And cows are like all female mammals. They can only produce and give milk during or after pregnancy. So once a year, every cow in every dairy farm is raped with a long steel device shoved in her vagina to inject her with bull semen. Sometimes you just use a bare hand to do it. Got to get that milk flow going somehow. And later on, after she gives birth, newborn baby is stolen. A couple months later, repeat the process all over again. So now we're down to baby stealing. And why would the dairy industry steal newborn babies from their moms? Well, they can't have little calves sucking up all that milk that was meant for them, when they'd much rather sell it to you instead. Every time you have a glass of cow's milk, some calf is not. And mother cows make milk for one reason anyways, for their babies and for their babies alone. This case is closed forever, permanently, no debate, no discussion whatsoever. The jury is in. They certainly don't make milk for baby elephants, baby orangutans, baby hedgehogs, baby rats, baby humans, adolescent humans, or adult humans. This body of ours has absolutely no need for cow milk, like it has absolutely no need for giraffe milk, and zebra milk, and rhinoceros milk, and hippopotamus milk, camel milk, goat milk, horse milk, pig milk, dog milk, or cat milk. The only milk that we ever need comes from our own mother. That's it. And after the first few years of life, we never need a drop of milk ever again. But if you want to include some kind of milk in your diet, like I do, it is finally time for some good news. Because I can see it on some of your faces. You're like, damn, did you come here today just to verbally abuse us? Lighten up, man. Actually, I came here to show you what you've been missing, because everyone's got those blinders on nice and tightly. But everything you like to eat and drink, the taste, the smell, and the texture, we got it veganized for you. We got a vegan version. There's soy milk, rice milk, almond milk, hemp milk, coconut milk, oat milk, hazelnut milk, sunflower milk, and flax milk. You can mimic the taste and texture of meat with tofu and tempeh and seitan. And we got all those vegan meats made from plant products too. And of course there's fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, grains, legumes, Middle Eastern food, falafel, tabbouleh and hummus. Asian food, stir-fried vegetables and tofu. Just remember when ordering Asian, always order it without the fish sauce added to it. There's Indian food like aloo gobi, which is cauliflower, potatoes and curry, or chana masala, chickpeas and tomatoes. Mexican food, rice and beans and guacamole. Italian food, pasta, spaghetti, and pizzas without cheese. Ethiopian food, split peas and lentils. Check out my website for tips on what to eat and where to eat. I have a veg shopping guide, a restaurant guide. I have a recipe section. I have an athlete section too. And don't think I don't watch your faces when I'm up here. That's what I do when I'm preaching. I'm watching all your expressions. How come when I talk about tofu and tempeh and seitan and all the vegan meats and milks and pizzas without cheese, I always catch a couple people in every crowd, they start to wrinkle up their noses. Eyes get a little wide, start to bulge, start glancing at their friends as if to say, tofu, is this guy crazy? Tempeh, he must be out of his mind. What the hell is seitan? Seitan is wheat meat, by the way. It's meat that's made from wheat. So how come tofu and tempeh and pizzas without cheese is gross to everybody but meat? Let me break this down for everybody. You got 5 components to meat: blood, flesh, veins, muscles, and tendons. The cut-up corpse of a dismembered body. How does meat not qualify as disgusting and gross to everybody? How in the world is a liquid that oozes out of a cow's udder, a secretion that's loaded with pus, not considered gross to everybody? Oh, and let me tell you about the pus in the cow's milk. It'd be my pleasure. When you hook machines up to the udders of cows 3 times a day to suck them dry, those machines cause massive amounts of infections on the inside and outside of the udder. Then when you add all the bovine growth hormone that we put into cows and all the genetic engineering done to a cow's body to make sure she produces huge amounts of milk, which always leads to another infection, the machine doesn't know what not to suck out. Pus and mucus and infections right into the milk, and yes, milk is pasteurized. But when did pasteurization become a removal process? It's a sanitation process. All you're doing is sanitizing pus. And if you want to look this up online, well, you don't think the dairy industry would ever use the word pus when they write about this problem in their own trade journals, do you? Now they're going to deceive you again. Look up the scientific term for pus. Somatic cell count, S-O-M-A-T-I-C. And let's talk about some other disgusting things that you guys love to eat. Did you know that the backside of a bird is called a cloaca? C-L-O-A-C-A. It was the opening scene in the video. You can pop that back in if you want to see it again. No? Okay. It's one hole, but it serves many purposes. It's the poop hole. It's the pee hole. It's the vaginal fluid hole. And it's the hole where your breakfast comes from. Yeah, I remember back in the day, I used to love my scrambled eggs with shit sprinkles, urine splatter, and goo juice all over it too. You know when you crack that shell over the bowl, all those microscopic particles fly every which way. And what about vomit? Oh, come on, you guys love vomit. You adore vomit in, on, and all over your food. Better give this one a pretty name though. No one's gonna want to buy and eat vomit unless we call it honey instead. Honey comes directly from a bee's stomach. It's regurgitated right through a bee's mouth. Look that up with any wildlife biologist. But nobody wants to eat bee vomit nut Cheerios. We want honey nut Cheerios. So we lie to ourselves and play euphemism games. The standard diet of a meat, dairy, and egg eater is blood, flesh, veins, muscles, tendons, cow secretions, things that come out of a hen's ass, and bee vomit? Oh, we're not done yet? I'm not going to let you off the hook that easily while I got you here tonight. You know, we top this all off, in my opinion, because every year when people start cooking turkeys for the holidays, boy, people take a dead turkey, carve out a really big hole in that dead turkey's ass, take some stuffing and shove it inside their dead empty ass, and use their little dead ass as an oven to bake some bread. Somebody else's dead empty bacteria-laden ass to make bread? Ass bread? And people think vegans are weird because we eat tofu and fruits and veggies? And one of my favorite meals nowadays, yams, quinoa, and a veggie burger with all the fixings. But I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, man, he just eats vegetables and grains and seeds for dinner. Yeah, I don't know, he's kind of weird. Okay. But somebody else's rib cage sitting on your plate isn't weird. Severed legs, sliced up thighs, and mutilated breast on your plate isn't weird and doesn't make you think twice. Is bestiality weird to anybody? Doing sexual things with animals? Because I used to think everybody thought so, but not even close, my meat, cheese, milk, egg-loving friends. Because you engage in carnivorous bestiality on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day. You eat things that come out of a hen's ass and shove things into a turkey's ass. You eat breast, legs, and thighs, and then you pay somebody else to sexually molest a cow and squeeze her nipples for you so you can steal her milk. Man, you guys are obsessed with hen asses and cow tits. Enough already. Seriously. Is it possible to step into the 21st century and stop mimicking the behavior of cavemen and cavewomen? You got a choice tonight. When you leave this room, you can choose to be radically kind, to never intentionally harm another animal for breakfast, lunch, or dinner ever again. And these animals have never harmed you and violated you or taken advantage of you in any way, shape, or form. The least you can do is return the favor. Or stay radically cruel. Keep the status quo as is. Make sure animals have their babies stolen from them. Make sure their horns are cut off, beaks sliced off. Make sure they're raped. Make sure they never experience one drop of human kindness. Make sure there's a knife in their throat. Every second of every minute, of every hour, of every day, for eternity. I hope you make the right choice. I want to thank you for listening. I appreciate the open minds I saw out there tonight. Let's do some Q&A. We still got plenty of time. If you guys want me to clarify something I said that just doesn't make any sense to you, want to know how I got started, countries that I've been kicked out of, whatever Marion brought up at the beginning. I don't talk too much about that anymore. It was a long time ago. But whatever you guys want to talk about, questions, anything?
Is sugar vegan?
Yes, I consider sugar to be vegan. The question is being asked, I presume, because 2 of the 3 major sugar companies actually filter their sugar through bones. I consider this to be the veggie burger on the meat grill scenario. Now listen, when you eat out at a restaurant, I don't care what they say unless it's a vegan restaurant, that veggie burger is going to have meat juice on it. And by the way, that's not the worst thing that I'm worried about. I've worked in kitchens as a teenager, I think most people have. I'm not worried about the meat juice. I'm worried about the chef that's spitting on it and sneezing on it and throwing boogers on it and dropping it on the floor and all that other stuff. But, okay, the point of veganism is to make an ethical choice that causes no harm. When I order a veggie burger at a meat restaurant, I've made no ethical violation. I've caused no harm. Now, I don't want it on my veggie burger. Okay, but again, it's an ethical choice. Now, the other sugar company that doesn't use bones just proves that you don't need bones to, filter sugar through. What's happening too is the industries that exploit animals have figured out a way to exploit the entire animal, right down to the bones, right down everything. Nothing gets tossed away. Something is sold to somebody else. Fish bladders are used to filter dark beer through, like Guinness. It's called isinglass. But you don't need it to make beer. It's just something that they've been doing because they convinced some company to buy this product to filter this through. So I don't consider it to be non-vegan. Now, if you go vegan, though, and you want to avoid certain things, you want to avoid sugar, I don't think, from a health standpoint, I think sugar should be minimized, if not eliminated from your diet. I think it's garbage for you. That's what I try to do myself to stay, completely on the top of my health. But whatever you do as a vegan, that's going to be your choice. But it's really not an issue that I talk too much about or that you should be too concerned about. Keep in mind, too, the only way to get rid of the bones in the sugar industry is through a vegan society. No one's going to enslave and murder an animal just to obtain their bones. So that's a true byproduct. The reason why I never refer to dairy or eggs or even leather as being a byproduct, because even if we stopped eating meat, we would enslave and murder cows for their skin, for leather. We would enslave and murder cows to obtain the milk. We would enslave and murder hens to get the eggs from them. But the bones, the whey, the rennet, those are true byproducts. So veganism is still going to be the only way to get rid of that whole process. There's another hand that popped up.
Talk to us a little bit about your understanding where we came from in terms of evolution. Did we start out as grain eaters and became meat eaters, or was it vice versa?
Okay, I'm going to touch on evolution and creation because I don't want to push either on anybody. Both ways we were vegan, but let's first talk about evolution. We started out as gatherers. The hunting, gathering, that came in later. Logical theory is that when the Ice Age hit, wiped out vegetation, nothing else to eat, we turned to eating animals as a survival scenario. Now, that's not a justification, but it's a pretty good excuse. Like Inuits who live in an icy environment with no vegetation. I understand why they do it. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. It's not justified. You know, but when I get to the 99.99% of the rest of the human population that doesn't have the excuse that they have, okay, I'll go talk to the Inuits later on and try to figure out how we can solve this problem there. But we started out as vegans for sure. Started out as gatherers and then hunting and gathering. Now, when the Ice Age ended, we should have reverted back to the diet that kept us healthy and connected to the natural world, not fallaciously on top of it. We became addicts to it. And addicts become irrational. And you can see how irrational meat, dairy, and egg eaters are by the murder of 150 billion animals every year for a sandwich. And by causing all this ill health, by destroying the environment. There's no justification for doing this in this day and age. And for any of the creation people out there, if you look to the Garden of Vegan, the Garden of Eden, that vegan haven, Adam and Eve were the first vegans on this planet. Genesis 1:29, God's first dietary laws, I give you seed-bearing plants for food. God's last dietary laws, Isaiah 11:7, the wolf will live with the lamb, the cow will feed with the bear, the lion will eat straw like the ox, and a child will lead them, and no one will harm in my holy mountain. It's clear and unambiguous the beginning and the end in the creation theory were vegan and will be vegan. So the question you got to ask yourself is, what in the hell is going on right now? Why aren't we striving towards these perfect states? We need to be making an effort. And the reason why I get so irate and upset at humankind is because we don't do the best we can do when it comes to ethics, when it comes to humanity, when it comes to decency. We do the absolute worst we can do with the animals and with each other too. So it's time to start striving towards these perfect states. If you guys want to read up more about the Bible, or the Quran, I have a Bible and a Quran section on my website located in animal rights issues. I also have an evolution section as well. Any questions?
Maybe it's just a statement, but I see a lot of cruelty-free advertising, and I take it it's not cruelty-free and it's not.
No, it doesn't exist. They're just trying to scam you and convince you and that everything's okay, to keep on doing what you're doing. Sure it does. And by the way, you listen, that's all it doesn't make the animals feel good. Makes you, the consumer, feel good, makes you sleep better at night. Doesn't make it better for the animals. When the animals wind up dead and cut up on your dinner plate, you think that animal really cares if he lived in a grass field or in a factory farm or a feedlot? It doesn't matter. Don't be duped. Listen, there's no nice way to rape a woman. I cannot be like, hey, got you a dozen roses. Got you some chocolate decadence, vegan chocolate too. Now I'm going to rape the hell out of you. You know, okay, it doesn't work that way. Rape is a violation. Okay, molestation is a violation. Can't nicely molest a child by bringing him an Xbox before you're going to do the deed. It doesn't work this way, and you cannot do this to the animals. They do not want to be commodified under any circumstances. They do not want their bodies, you know, looked at that way. They do not want hands all over them, stealing things from them, squeezing them, cutting them into pieces, and having their bodies cooked. Please don't be. I'm not asking anybody to change forms of cruelty. Do not email me tomorrow and say, hey, Gary's a great speech, man. I'm going to buy some free-range eggs from now on. I'm not asking you. Don't do that. Bullshit. Serious. Now, if you want to reduce your consumption on your way to going vegan, I'm all for that. Reduction on the way to abolishing an atrocity, that's a proper scenario. It's not that I'm an irrational person, but you can't change forms of cruelty. But you can make Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays all vegan day right now and get used to it and then go, oh, you know what, I'm going to add Thursday. And 5 more months, I'm going to have Friday. End of the year, I'm going to be vegan. Or you can take out certain animals right now. I had a student email me once. It was 1 year to the date of the lecture. She said, I've been waiting to tell you that I've been vegan, that I'm going vegan, and it took me 1 year. This is my plan. The first 3 months I took out cows and pigs because I found it to be too overwhelming to do this all at once. Next 3 months I took out the birds. Next 3 months I took out the marine animals, and these last 3 months I've taken out all those, all the other stuff, the eggs, the dairy, the whey, and the rennet. So I don't care how you get to veganism. Just get there sooner rather than later for the victims, for the animals' sake.
I just wanted to clarify something with cruelty-free. There is a campaign for anti-animal testing that is labeled cruelty-free with like a little button. That's something completely different. So meat industry that's doing that, but there is cruelty-free.
Correct, yes, for the hygiene products.
What was your decisive point to go vegan after 27 years?
I got 2 moments. First, my stepdad is a clown in the Shrine Circus. He invites me backstage, Michigan State Fairgrounds one day, says, you want to see the elephants? And I got my blinders on like everyone else. Right? The only animals I care about are my dogs, or the cats, or the squirrels, and the chipmunk. I'm like, hell yeah, I want to see the elephants. Are you kidding me? So I asked Myron, my stepdad, I said, can I bring Wendy with me? My girlfriend at the time. I said, yeah, bring Wendy down. Wendy and I are giggling and laughing, going backstage. We're having so much fun. We're like playfully fighting who's first. I'm like, I'm first, I'm first, I'm first. We're running backstage, and all of a sudden, when you see cruelty in front of your face, no one needs to explain it to you. I didn't need anybody to tell me what I was seeing was evil. I'm no veterinarian, I'm no wildlife biologist, but there were 3 elephants in chains. Front left feet, back right foot, to the cement floor in the warehouse of the Michigan State Fairground. And they were swaying like this, neurotic. Again, I'm no animal veterinarian, I'm no biologist, but I know that's not elephant behavior. That's a neurotic behavior. I later found out that's the neurotic behavior all elephants get in the circus because they're all kept in chains, except when they're on stage doing stupid, idiotic tricks that they would never do in the wild on their own. I remember seeing a monkey screaming in his cage, a couple tigers pacing, and I turned to Wendy and I said, what the hell is an elephant doing on 8 Mile and Woodward Avenue in Detroit in the first place? And she said, I don't know. We walked out dumbfounded to see the rest of the show until the bears came out wearing yellow tutus and riding tricycles, and I looked at Wendy and I said, let's get the hell out of here. So that was the moment that my blinders started coming on. I started wondering where my food came from, my shoes. I found out where Thornapple Valley Pig Slaughterhouse was in Detroit, and I went there for 6 weeks straight, every day, as a meat eater. I wanted to see it for myself. And I was at a concentration camp. They have not been abolished. And I'm Jewish, I say this stuff. The Jewish Holocaust, okay, and I'm gonna be clear about this, was nothing compared to the animal Holocaust. 30 million animals every day in America are killed. 30 million a day. No human has ever known suffering like the animals have known suffering. I found out a quote from a bishop from Britain, William Ralph Inge, when I was going to the slaughterhouse every day, and he said that if animals ever formed an organized religion, the devil would be depicted in human form. To this day, I cannot argue with that statement. And if you're wondering why I went there every day for 6 weeks, because I couldn't believe what I saw the day before. Could not believe I was watching live pigs being cut up into pieces. Yeah, I found where the killing floor was at. Could not believe the things, the screams that I heard. If you think the video's bad, and I'm not trying to downplay it, I know the video's rough. Try seeing that stuff right in front of your face, smelling death and fear in the air, hearing their screams constantly. My heart hurt. Those 6 weeks, I'm talking hurt, like when you lose a loved one, whether it's a dog or a cat or a mother or father, wife, husband, spouse, friend, that kind of bad relationship, heart hurt. I mean, I would come home, and Darren would stop by, one of my best friends, and he'd go, man, what the hell's going on? And nothing. It's like, were you at the slaughterhouse again today? Yeah. Well, what kind of got me on the path to this, where I'm at now, is near the end of that 6 weeks, there were 6 trucks full of pigs waiting to be called in to be killed. And I was walking up and down the street next to them, and I was filming myself inside. I was filming them. And one of the pigs looked out, and his eyes locked with mine. It locked so much, as tears were rolling down my face, the camera just dropped slowly, and I couldn't move. And it was like his eyes were screaming at me, "Why are you doing this to us?" And in my head, I'm saying, I don't know. I rationalized it for a little while, like most people, until I couldn't rationalize it anymore. If you want to be a decent human being, if you want to say that you're ethical and that you care, you cannot be eating meat, cheese, milk, and eggs under any circumstances. None. There is no excuse for it. Ever. Veganism is the platform for ethics. And what pushed me over the edge, because I, of course, was fighting it like most people, I'm a sports junkie to this day. My hometown hockey team, the Detroit Red Wings, have a stupid tradition in the playoffs of throwing dead octopuses on the ice. In 1995, it got out of control. They were throwing 100 octopuses each night during the playoffs onto the ice during the game. Meaning that they were taking octopuses out of the ocean, not to eat them, which I do not want, but talk about being completely callous and wasteful. They're now throwing their bodies on the ice and laughing about it, some drunk idiots in Detroit during the hockey game. Well, I did not know how to talk to people back then in '95. It was new to me. I called up a radio station, WDFN, still on the air. Greg Henson was the host. He's still on the air, not on that station, but on another one. He doesn't know what he created to this day, because this is why I'm veg. So I get on the air, I start talking about all the animal mascots I could think of. What's next? San Jose Sharks going to throw dead sharks on the ice. Detroit Tigers going to throw dead tigers on the field. And he goes, "Oh, Gary, hold on, man. What'd you have for dinner last night?" I knew what he meant. I've been avoiding it. Now, one of my best attributes is that I never lie. And if you read my website, read the essays I've written, especially about retaliatory violence, okay, I do not lie. I speak my mind. I'm no politician. You ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. Well, at that moment, I froze and I lied and I said a salad. That was a typical meat eater. That's what we think. Oh, so meat eaters always think vegetarians and vegans eat all the time salads all day long. Don't like a salad. And he goes, "Oh, okay. Go ahead." The guilt is hard. I'm like, "Oh my God, he believes me." So now I start talking. I'm like, "Okay, and this is wrong, and this." And I'm talking. In 2 minutes, he lets me talk. That's a lot of time on the air. As I'm winding down, he says to me, "Is there anything else you'd like to add?" Oh my God, he gave me the upper hand. I said, "You know what? No, that's it, Greg. Thank you." And as I was hanging up the phone, I looked at the phone. I said, "That's the shortest lived lie ever. I'm done." That was the kick in the butt that I needed to make this happen. And I get that from a lot of students. Man, your speech gave me the kick in the ass I needed to finally do this. I've been thinking about it for a long time. So the elephant in the circus and then the octopus actually made me go veg. I went vegetarian in '95, by the way, then I went vegan in '96. Like most vegetarians, I either did not know what was going on in the dairy and the egg industries, or I did not want to listen. But what happened was I actually went to a conference in DC in 1996, and I went like 2 days early. I was so eager to go, although I could not find one friend or family member to go with me. I went by myself. I ended up sitting in the lobby of this hotel for 2 days waiting for people to show up. Finally, a group of people from Texas walks in. Texans for animal rights all over their shirts. I'm like, "Hey, I'm Gary from Michigan. How you guys doing? Hey, Gary, what's up? Da, da, da. Hey, Gary, where can we get a good veggie burger around here?" I'm like, "Oh, Hard Rock Cafe right down the street. Great veggie burger. Just had it." I said, "Oh, well, that's not a vegan burger, though. That's just vegetarian." I said, "So?" And they said, "What do you think happens to cows when they can't give milk anymore?" My reply, "Oh. I'll never understand why people argue with facts." Okay. I can understand not knowing facts and wanting to hear about them, but the arguments that I get sometimes with people, that's a fact. They don't give milk anymore, they get killed. They got to pay their way. Another question?
Can you touch on, because obviously you're a guy, and obviously you've got some muscular tone there, so can you touch on the whole, like, guys being, like, weak, and, you know, vegan guys being weak or skinny or, you know?
Sure.
No.
Mary, could you actually turn on, is the internet on?
Oh, yeah.
I want to pull my website. I got a great veg athlete section, by the way.